Capricorn, this is a tarot reading for 2024 because it's about an entire year. I'm focusing on big issues. Particularly I'm focusing on how global events are shaping your thoughts. I mean, tarot is about how these cards, these pressures affect you, and you can choose to go with them or not. You have free will, but certainly I picked up on global events as they were happening, but last year they sort of dominated my tarot readings. And you know, we've been through some tumultuous events, but slowly people are beginning to see through them, see what's happening, try and understand how these global events are shaping their own thoughts and lives. So that's why I might keep returning to them. And excuse me, because as I say, you have free will. These are just pressures on your own psychology, really. So if we look at the spread, it's an interesting spread. The central card there, Magician card, it suggests you're trying to manifest something. Maybe no bad thing at this time, although I have been receiving some warnings about manifesting. We'll see. Like so many of us, you look to the past as a golden age. Maybe a golden age when you had control of your money, when you understood wealth. But this seems to have slipped away from you somewhat, maybe only somewhat. But certainly now you feel restricted in what you're doing. The truth is, those restrictions are self-imposed. Now, I don't know what you're restricting, but it's self-imposed, and this is the influence of these pressures on your own personal psychology. In the future, we have a time for celebration. I'm not entirely sure what, although there is an indication what it might be. And it could be about the next card, or the next energy, if you like, which is Two of Cups. It suggests a divine love. It could simply be a partnership, but it's something that you feel very comfortable with. Maybe a soulmate. And that leads to the outcome. What would change the outcome is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, I think this is another major change in your life. And I think to a certain degree, it's warning us that you're repeating the mistakes of the past. I might be wrong. But the outcome is the Queen of Swords. She's a lovely queen. But she is a queen that does tend to put up barriers. Often they're very necessary in life, so it's not necessarily a bad thing to be doing. But juxtapositioned with the Wheel of Fortune, and also with that Eight of Swords, which suggests there are self-imposed barriers, I think you're repeating this cycle. I think you've not learned enough from past cycles. I might be wrong, so stay with me as we look at all of these in much greater detail. Now, the energy that runs throughout all of 2024 and dominates the other energies is that of the Magician. It suggests to me that you're trying to manifest something. I suspect you're trying to manifest wealth. I might be completely wrong. And I suspect what you're trying to manifest means that you haven't completely grasped what is going on in the world and what you need to do. Now, I could be wrong about this, so I don't want to put it too strongly. But wealth is very strongly indicated within this reading or within this spread. So I think that's what you're trying to do. And there's no harm in manifesting. I'm not against that. It's just that we're in a new paradigm now. Things have changed. And what was good in the old paradigm might not be the right thing to be doing in this paradigm. Like so many of us, you look to the past as something of a golden age. And I think objectively that's exactly what it was. But in particular, you're looking, well, you felt wealthier, didn't we all? And objectively, most of us are less wealthy than we were a few years previously. You feel, and I think it's probably true, that you were someone that was quite sophisticated in terms of money and wealth. Somebody that knew that what they were doing. Maybe even that you worked as a financial advisor or something like that. Certainly you look back to that time with fondness. There is a danger of trying to turn the clock back, trying to regain what you feel you've lost. Now, I'm not saying that that's what's happening here with you. It's just a feeling that I'm getting at this moment in time. Certainly at the beginning of 2024, and I think it continues throughout, you're imposing restrictions on yourself. There are things that you ought to be doing, and I think it's embracing change, and you're not embracing those changes. You're self-restricted. You probably see this as very necessary restrictions. Restrictions from falling foul of some of the traps that you have fallen foul of in the past. But what you don't grasp is that you're actually restricting yourself. And, you know, if you are manifesting, it would mean that you're not allowing what you're manifesting to come in. And to a certain degree, it's because of you can't see what you need to see. So I don't think you've grasped the fundamental changes that have occurred within the world. Because if you could, you would embrace change more. You'd look for something more creative, look for something different. And I think that's not what you're doing. In the future, you have cause for celebration. Maybe the manifestation does begin to work. And I'm just thinking that maybe it was about wealth, but maybe it was also about love. Or alternatively, it was about love. And so I think you get what you want, and this causes you to celebrate. But despite getting what you want, I'm not sure it's what the universe is advising you that you need. I've got this real feeling that you're repeating a mistake, and there's something you've simply not grasped here. Yeah, that's the feeling I'm getting from it all. you might be saying to yourself, does this old fool know what he's talking about? Because he told me that I was manifesting wealth, and then he said it could be love. Well, why did he say that? Well, a new love comes, where it might not be new, it might be renewed. There's probably a new love comes into your life, a new divine love. It feels like everything you want. Feels like a soulmate. Now, I must say, it could be about a partnership, somebody that you get on very, very closely with. And so that's how it could be wealth as well, couldn't it? But I think that's what you were celebrating, that this new partnership, it probably is love, but comes into your life, and it feels wonderful, it feels divine. It feels like everything you wanted. But I think you haven't made some fundamental changes. Now that new love leads to the outcome. And the outcome is not a bad outcome. I don't want to suggest it is. But what would change the outcome is the Wheel of Fortune. So it's saying to me there's something even better on offer for you. Now, we've all been through a major change, a new paradigm has begun. And it's that I think you haven't quite grasped what the new paradigm is. I think this is telling me that you're going to repeat the mistakes of the past. You probably, you're only repeating the mistakes of the past. You're only repeating things that have happened before. And they won't be identical. They won't be identical circumstances. It's just the energies that I think you're destined to repeat. Instead of grasping at the change, understanding the change that's fundamental. I think it isn't a bad 2024. But if you went with this energy of embracing change, it could be much, much better. Now, the outcome is the Queen of Swords. She's a very nice queen. She's a queen that people respect, a queen that people look up to. A firm but fair queen. But she is a queen that establishes firm boundaries. And, I would say there's no harm in establishing firm boundaries. But I suspect that what you truly want, what you're really manifesting, is a wonderful love. And you don't need boundaries. In fact, they're not going to help if you're really seeking a divine love. And you may well have been sent a divine love, a love that is just right for you. But because of these boundaries you're putting up, you're not getting the most of it. Now, for some time now, I've been spotting across all signs that are sort of psychopathic view of love. A love that is about control, a love that is about ownership has to change. And it has to be a love whereby, as it's been said many times, if you truly love somebody, you must set them free. It must be a love whereby you have nothing to hide from each other. So to really experience true love, you must do away with these sort of psychopathic views of love and embrace love through loving yourself, loving God or the universe. And then you can be loved by yourself, by God, but by others as well. So I think you're putting up too rigid boundaries. Now, as I say, it's not necessarily a dreadful outcome. But there is so much more to be had in 2024 if you follow these energies a bit differently. right? Or have I got it completely wrong? Well, if we get clarity on this Eight of Swords, this self-imposed restrictions, I think it will tell us a lot. And the first card we get is the Nine of Pentacles. Multiple blessings, but perhaps particularly monetary blessings. And you're by yourself. The next card is the Emperor's card. In touch with Mother Nature. A very feminine card. Wants the best things in life, both for yourself and for others. And the final card is the Eight of Wands. A very firm sense of direction. What do these mean? So, the first card of clarity is Nine of Pentacles. I don't want to put a negative spin on things because it's multiple blessings. Multiple blessings come to you, but you're on your own. Now this is what's restricting you. You're restricting yourself because of, I think you're manifesting blessings. And, you know, I got confused, was it money or love? And I think it's both, but I think both are on your terms. And so it looks as though you're somewhat successful in terms, at least initially, in terms of money. But it sees you perhaps feeling a bit lonely and you want to share things in your life, not unnaturally. But it isn't quite, it doesn't quite give you what you're looking for. And I didn't quite get this Empress card, but I do now. And the Empress is very feminine energy. An energy that's very at home in nature, a very energy that understands her subconscious and those of others. She's somebody, and you may be male, you know, so it's just a feminine energy. Somebody that enjoys the good things in life and wants to share them with others. They're not greedy, they want to share them with others. But I think you've been very specific in your manifesting. What you've been manifesting is you want wealth and you want to share it with others. But that's a highly specific thing, isn't it? And I think you're going to get both. But in doing so, you might not find happiness. Or you might even find happiness, but cycles are going to repeat themselves. That's the real message. Cycles repeating themselves. So you're looking for someone to share your wealth with. Now we have the Eight of Wands, and I'm sort of reading these as though they're bad energies, and they're not. They're all great energies. But there's something sort of missing, you know, and I can see what it is. Now this is an energy of, you know, knowing what you want, knowing how to get there, moving in harmony towards it. But this is what I'm talking about. You over-specifying your manifestation. And you are going to get what you want. You are going to get what you want. But when you get there, you're going to realise that maybe it wasn't quite as you wanted it. Maybe things aren't quite how you want. You're actually, and this is of course all about this card of restrictions or self-restrictions, by over-specifying things, what you're doing is you're restricting the bounty that is on offer to you from the earth. So you're a little bit too controlling. Little bit too controlling in everything, in your relationship with others, but also with yourself and in your manifesting. So I don't want it to sound like a bad year for you. And remember, you have free will, you can change it. All I'm saying is things could be even better. So I think I can summarise for you, Capricorn. Well, Capricorn, 2024 is certainly going to be an interesting year for you. I think whatever happens, it's one where you will feel pretty satisfied. It could be a good year, but I believe it could be even better. You're manifesting. I think you're manifesting both wealth and love. And we'll come back to this. Certainly you look to the past as a sort of a golden age, as we all do. A time when not only did you have wealth, but you were quite sophisticated in terms of your wealth. But now you're restricting yourself. You've imposed restrictions on yourself, which are preventing you from getting the full blessings that are on offer from the universe for you during 2024. I mean, you do, it's not a bad year. You do, I think, find a new love. I mean, it could be a partnership, but I think it's a new love, or you find a renewed love, and it feels wonderful. It feels like a soulmate. It feels perfect. And I think as a result of that, you celebrate. I think you probably also do attract money. You attract wealth. And to a certain degree, in attracting this wealth, you feel that you'd like to share this wealth with somebody else. You'd like somebody to share your life with. Things aren't so bad for you, despite the world collapsing around our feet, our ears, whatever. I think you're going to fare pretty well, Capricorn, in 2021, and you celebrate because you think you're doing great. You think things are good for you. And they are, but what are these restrictions you've placed on yourself? Well, I think you've placed restrictions on yourself and on those around you, including this love. That I believe there's a love there. It could be a partnership, but I believe it's love. Because you've been burnt in the past and you don't want to get burnt, and putting those barriers up is normally no bad thing. But the world has changed. The world has changed dramatically. And this sort of psychopathic attitude towards love, which is one of ownership and control, is being swept aside. And if you can embrace change and embrace love for the sake of love, without these restrictions, I think there's so much more on offer to you. And we've been through this major change, and we're all aware of this major change and how it's affected us. And some of us have learned from it. I'm speaking as though I have. I hope to God I have, but maybe I haven't. But there's great danger that you haven't, and you're going to repeat the cycles of the past. Now, maybe your past cycles weren't too bad and you don't see that as a bad thing, and I don't want to put a dampener on 2024 for you. But there is this suggestion that if you can learn from the past and truly embrace change your attitudes to love, maybe also to money and wealth, then there is so much more available to you. There really is, Capricorn.